your mother? It's time for another episode of Birds with Friends. Just a trio of feathery brethren weathering any season to see the Eagles eat teams like Scrammy's top with cheese. It's Philadelphia. Bo, Sheil, and Zach kicking it cooler than 3 penguins till Zach runs off with his valet keys. He's a real nuanced goose. Pull up a branch, get loose. It's time for some juice on some Birds with Friends. The early bird gets the worm, but prefers getting turned like a turn on some Birds with Friends. Bo, Sheil, and Zach coming at you with sets and things flapping their wings on.
They can be like bathing suits. What they, what...
Finish it up. Sometimes you gotta take them off.
What the hell? What they show is revealing, but what they conceal is vital, right? So...
This episode is presented by BetMGM, the exclusive betting partner of The Athletic. Sign up at betmgm.com using the promo code TheAthleticPod. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Birds with Friends. I'm Bo Wulf, and I'm joined tonight by Sheil Kapadia, Zach Berman, and Marissa Morris. We will look back at the Eagles-Chargers game in the Squall 22 and maybe dip our beaks into a crest pass. But I do have to start tonight with some bittersweet news. Some of you may have seen that the New York Jets made a move this afternoon to add Elijah Riley to their active roster from the Eagles practice squad. It's no secret that I have touted Elijah Riley since last summer. And obviously, I plan to have some fun with that series of events on tonight's show. But just a little bit ago, my agent, Flew Rosella House, informed me of a clause in my contract of which I was heretofore unaware. And in claiming Elijah Riley, Joe Douglas also acquired my rights as a host.
All right.
And so after 4+ years here on Birds with Friends, it is with profound sadness, but also immense gratitude that I say this will be my last show. So
you're still doing this show? As
of tomorrow, I will be the new host of the I can't say it yet, but at least I'll still get to work with Marissa.
I can't wait to tell Connor.
Let's have some fun tonight for old time's sake. And Sheil, I know this is a dream come true for you. So how are you?
Yeah, I mean, if you don't want to do this show, if you need to start prepping for that one, I think Zach and I can certainly handle it. I wasn't sure, coming off the post-game pod, a bunch of nonsense, low energy, takes 40 minutes to get to DeVonta Smith. I didn't think we'd start this pod on the same note, but we did with the, Elijah Riley bit there. So I don't know. I'm just ready to start firing off takes here and to keep the sickos who are in the comments, try to give them a reason to continue watching. Zebra, how are you?
Sheil, can you specify low energy from Sunday's pod?
Yeah, no, I would imagine it's hard to get in a rhythm when someone's just yelling JH names at you for the whole time. So I don't think it's. I thought the game had juice. I thought it was a very interesting, entertaining game. Maybe the most entertaining game of the season. A lot of takeaways, but the post game pod, not all of them are going to be high energy, up to the standard. And you can look in the mirror. Bo said it at the end of the pod. Sheil's going to kill us for this one, so I wanted to make sure I came through with that. Yeah, Zebra, I thought your energy was fine.
Thank you. I was a bit miffed during the pod when Bo, when
it was late. We were tired.
All right, let me make
excited for this pod. Looking forward to it.
All right, I'm going to make a case here. Have we been too hard on this Eagles offense when you look at how they've rebounded the last 2 games? I was doing a piece for The Athletic today. You can read that, of course, theathletic.com/birdswithfriends, just projecting all the offenses going forward. for the rest of the season. And I was stunned by the numbers with this Eagles offense. They were far better than I thought they would have been. Where would you guess they rank in EPA per drive, which for those who don't know, it's a performance metric. None of them are perfect, but it's better than, yards per game or points per game.
The last 2 weeks?
Answer, no, the season.
Oh,
see, because here's where, I think we don't want to get into like the habit of, all right, the last 4 games, because you can do that. I don't know this. The analytics folk generally say, take the whole big sample because it gives you the best indication of what's real.
15th.
ZB?
14th.
11th in EPA per drive, 13th in DVOA, 18th in success rate. Jalen Hurts is 19th in DVOA, 19th in EPA per play. I look at the talent. Listen, the eye test has not been kind for the most part, and we can get into some of the tweaks that they've made, but the eye test has not been kind. Watching this team week in and week out, I think, crushed them quite a bit. Myself, leading the charge are certainly included in that. But if you look at some of those numbers, like before the season, if you would have told me, hey, 9 weeks in, they'll be 11th in EPA per drive, and Jalen Hurts will be 19th in these quarterback metrics, I would have been like, the coaching staff is probably doing a pretty good job. Like those numbers don't scream to me that they're underperforming their talent on that side of the ball.
So I think in the whole, one thing that I would bounce back is like there has been a lot of garbage time production in some of those losses.
Someone asked about this, so I'll just address it now. You can actually look on Ben Baldwin's site. You can make it so that each team has a win probability of at least 20%, and it takes away the garbage time snaps. They're still 14th in EPA per play. So you're right, they are worse, but they're still, mediocre or slightly above average.
Sure. I think that in this last game, we were probably we didn't give them enough credit. And I think we said, in the post-game pod that game was on the defense. Like Jalen Hurts missed 2 throws, but the defense was really at fault. They were very good in that game. He has to make that throw in the end zone, but the Chargers were doing anything they wanted to, and the Eagles kept pace.
And another question here from Tracer Bullet asking, how much is that due to the Lions and Falcons game? So another exercise I did is I just got a list of every game that's been played this season and just ranked, you can just sort them.
Preparation that you've been doing?
No, this was for the column I wrote. It's not for the show. Yeah, no. Crazy. And just ranked them in terms of EPA per drive. So there's been, how many games have there been? 200 and some games so far this season, 200 and some offensive performances. Basically, it's a way to look at how many great games have you had, which I, said 75th percentile or above. How many terrible games have you had, 25th percentile or below, and how many above average games have you had? So if you just take every offensive performance so far this season, how many of the Eagles' offensive performances do you think qualify as at least above average in the top half of all those games?
Because you're asking, I will push it one higher and say 6.
7.
ZB. Wow. All right, you should put some turkeys on that bad boy. Yeah, it surprised me.
Zach seems upset about
Zach, do you not like what's happening right now? Did you want to get some Stone Cold Newsman out there?
No.
He does look a little.
You
perturbed.
seem like you're stewing about something.
Yeah. I didn't mean to hurt anyone's feelings in the beginning. I know Bo's used to it. I didn't,
No, I'm not stewing. I'm listening intently.
Okay. All right.
I'm trying to see if I can apply any of this to my coverage.
That's what he's stewing about. He's like, why didn't I think of this?
This is.
He's mad that the national reporter comes in and swoops in and starts taking knowledge of the beat.
I don't think a team that scores 24 points is like.
But Zach, we talked about this. You can't just go by points in that game. There were 7 possessions.
I recognize that they punted the ball on 4th and 5 on the opening possession.
Okay.
All right. They weren't. Yeah. I don't look at that offense like, oh man, they were really outstanding. They were good, but
yeah. I think context is important. I don't think anyone would say they're outstanding. I've been treating them like they've been garbanzo beans, like they've been, a bottom, let's say quartile offense for most of the season. And I think they're, what were reasonable expectations coming into the season for this offense? Mediocrity was like 12th was like the ceiling for this group?
I mean, I think
we had that conversation.
I think part of the disparity between what we think about them and how they've performed is aesthetic and the way they've looked, because a lot of the times they're succeeding almost in spite of themselves. Jalen Hurts scrambling for a first down when he's building the pocket early is like, okay, like what are we really doing here? What are we really accomplishing? But like those plays count too. And just because Jalen Hurts is not necessarily the quarterback that the offense is designed for doesn't mean that they haven't been okay. And they have changed. I mean, like wildly changed.
That's a big thing. I mean, really, we were talking about
you know what's funny is Sirianni's a wise man avoids all extremes. Through the first 7 weeks, they were the most extreme pass-heavy team, and the last 2 weeks they've been the most extreme run-heavy team. Like he has only done the two extremes. So
he should just come up with a new phrase: "A wise man embraces all extremes."
A wise man embraces both extremes, baby.
Yeah.
Wait, so I just want to circle back to the previous conversation here, okay? Because
it's not actually my last show.
No. How this lights out offense, the greatest show on turf, the greatest show on turf.
Man,
they score. No. I said they scored 24 points, and Bo says, well, they only had 7 possessions. The Chargers only had 7 possessions, and they scored 27 points. And you're like, this defense is the reason the Eagles lost. The Eagles had a 3 and out.
2 possessions. They didn't score. They turned it over on downs at the 2 and the 27.
Okay, the only 2 possessions that, the 3 possessions that the Eagles did.
I'll get to the defense.
Wait. So the 3 possessions that the Eagles didn't score, they went 3 and out, and they punted on a 4th and 5. And like all of a sudden, we're crowning this offense. I'm not
crowning them. No, but the Chargers are supposed to have a good offense.
My point is this: you were saying. Your suggestion was like, we all know that the defense was the problem in that game, not the offense. What did the offense, and you said they had 7 drives, okay? Both teams scored the same amount of touchdowns on the same amount of drives, all right? The Chargers didn't go 3 and out. The Eagles went 3 and out, right? The Eagles went 3 and out twice. So I just don't think that you can point to the defense as like they were horrible in this game and the offense was good when the offense scored 24 points and went 3 and out twice.
Well, I disagree. I would say that's exactly how I would frame it, is that this defense stinks. I don't want to watch this defense. I don't want to watch them live. I don't want to watch them on film. I mean, I
just think there's so much confirmation bias in the argument about this defense, right?
But
because I believe, and I just think that you go into it with an idea of how defenses are supposed to play. And so basically you use the result to confirm what you want to think. And perhaps it's the same thing with, I just don't see how a 27-24 game where the Chargers score 3 touchdowns. And it's like the defense was getting picked apart.
That's almost 3 touchdowns. They easily could have scored a 4th. They were not trying to score a touchdown on their last possession. They were trying to milk the clock. If they needed to score a touchdown, I'll give the Eagles defense credit for a 4th and goal stop, but that's not like they drove 98 yards. All right.
Okay.
So it's like, that's like a coin. It's like a coin flip away to me from them scoring in the 40 points. I mean, they did nothing defensively.
I'll give the offense.
It's hard. in the year 2021 to have a game where you have no takeaways, no sacks. Your defensive line has 0 sacks, 0 quarterback hits, 0 tackles for loss. You don't force a single punt. The opponent drives to at least your 27-yard line on every single possession. I mean, that's why the Eagles offense only has, like, if Sirianni wanted to do his John Clark interview this week and say, we didn't get that many possessions, I would actually say, yeah, he's actually right about that, because if they could have gotten them the ball back a couple times, maybe they would have scored. They were actually moving the ball pretty effectively. So I am in my own head. Now you guys will, can disagree. I think Zach does disagree. I'm seeing a widening gap between what I see on either side of the ball. I'm seeing an offense that has started 9 different offensive linemen and is down at starting 2 guards and really doesn't have a lot of talent. I mean, we'll get to some Jalen Reagor numbers later. My gosh, I need to delete every take I had on that pick. But I'm looking at it and saying they're mediocre. They probably should be mediocre. And then I'm looking at a defense that, other than Brandon Graham, has been completely healthy. And it really is, I do feel like if I were to read up on all of Smart Football's old blog posts and try to implement some of the ideas I like the most, that's what my defense would look like. I mean, they're down to 24th in DVOA. They're 22nd in EPA per drive. They're 30th in success rate. Nothing they do is aggressive or fun or creative. And I think they have more, like, if Jim Schwartz was the coordinator of this defense, there's no way they would be this bad. I mean, I am convinced they would be at a minimum 14th or 15th in the NFL right now. So that's why I feel that way. It's a matter of performing to the talent on either side of the ball.
So the one thing you said that I disagree with is that the gap is widening, because I don't think that the defense is going to get worse as the season goes on, because what I think this defense is like and I said this to Zach earlier today, it's like the perfect reflection of whether or not the quarterback on the other side is good or not. If you look at their performances, like, the 5 good quarterbacks they've faced have all destroyed them, and the 3 bad quarterbacks they've faced have all looked bad. And then there's Matt Ryan week 1, so you can debate whether that was because they hadn't seen the scheme yet or because Matt Ryan is just not that good. But they don't play any good quarterbacks the rest of the way. And now, maybe you think Teddy Bridgewater's gonna eat him up because he likes to throw short. Maybe you think Trevor Siemian, I don't know. But, like, I think the defense has a chance to look okay down the stretch here these last 7 games because they don't play anybody, and that's like what they're built to do.
I mean, Darnold and Goff are arguably like 2 of the 4 worst starters in the NFL. And
okay, well, what about Zach Wilson and Daniel Jones?
Yeah, I would say Jones
and Taylor Heineke. Like, that's who they're playing.
Yeah, I would say those guys are.
And Trevor Siemian. Like, that's it.
Better. Yeah, that's true. Okay. ZB.
I mean,
you disagree?
Scored. No, I don't want to sit here like defending the defense. I'm not doing that. I just stand by my point about confirmation bias here, and also the offense.
But I think what's that?
Right? Wait. So the Chargers, the Eagles scored the fewest points against the Chargers in the past 4 games, right? And you keep saying that, well, they didn't have a lot. Like, they still went 3 and out twice, right? They still
twice for a whole game. That's not like
no.
Terrible.
You said they only had 7 drives. Okay, 3 of those drives they punted, right? On 3 of those drives they punted, and so
they ended them with a kick.
so now the point about the offense is just because they're more efficient running the ball. I mean, this offense needs to be better. That's the reality.
It can't be. There's no formula.
I hear what you're saying.
What is the formula for the offense to be better? They got nothing.
You're pumped that they're 14th in EPA here. And I'm saying that they've scored over 22 points 3 times this season. Once was Sunday when they had 24 points. Then the other times was week 1 and against Atlanta. I think this defense is I think this offense is right where we are evaluating them to be, right? They're fine. They can be better. They can be worse, I suppose. But I don't think that I just think there's confirmation bias when you say, well, the problem with this team is the way they play defense. not the way they play offense, because they're not scoring enough points. It's that simple.
Well, the confirmation bias doesn't play with me, because what Sheil was saying is like the offense is better than we've been giving it credit for. Like,
no, I'm saying the confirmation bias with the defense.
Yeah, but the defense does stink.
If the defense played this way and performed, I wouldn't be crushing them, but they're playing this way and they suck. Now, they did change things this week. That's true. So we should, we can give Jonathan Gannon some credit.
This is easily the most football we've ever talked at the top of a show.
Well, listen, I had to make up for the JH, or I don't even know what was going on during, the first time I thought about fast forwarding through some sections. I listened to every, contrary. I listened to every minute of every post game pod. Marissa is so offended by that comment.
Can't believe you'd fast forward through all of that.
By the way,
I thought about it. I would.
Let's take 1 second here just to pause and give it up for the new addition to the podcast, Marissa's new microphone.
Yes, yeah. I finally have a microphone.
How does it sound? How did you not have a microphone this whole time?
I have no idea, but I really like it. I have to work on my setup here. Like I got cords everywhere and it's kind of driving me crazy, but I like that it doesn't rub on my sweaters anymore, so I can wear sweaters that have a cute little neck thing to them. And not worry about my headphones. We need to fill out some anonymous feedback forms. How did it take our producer 3 years to get a freaking microphone? This is unacceptable for the company.
All right,
very excited.
The defense played highest percentage of man coverage it's played all season.
Yep. And the highest percentage of single high man in the league this week, according to Fran Duffy.
Highest blitz percentage, as you guys talked about in the post-game pod. I mean, they've gone without a sack 3 times in the last 4 games. This goes to what you wrote, Zach, and what you've said. They've invested in the defensive line. They're telling us we feel like our defensive line is going to be good. We all thought their defensive line was going to be good in August, and they go without a sack 3 times in the last 4 games. And I mean, this week was against 2 backups on the right side of the defensive line.
Oh, I agree. So I'm not defending the defensive line or the defense. I'm just defending the idea that the major problem with this team is the defense, and the offense is actually good. That's what I was pushing back on.
I think the framing. I mean, the offense has been better than the defense has by league-wide rankings, but I think the framing is probably that the offense is probably outperforming its talent level. I mean, to be an above-average offense to be an above-average offense with a below-average quarterback is. It's not. I mean, we're not throwing a parade, but it's something. Whereas the defense is underperforming its talent level. I mean, isn't it just as simple as that?
What I was thinking was that for the next, 100, 200, 500 years, whenever an Eagles team loses, and fans are going to say they should have run the damn ball more, they're going to be able to reference the 2021 season. Yeah. I mean, this is the time where everybody was calling for it. The fans wanted it, media, whatever. They started doing it, and the offense started playing better. So I don't want to overstate the offense's case. I think they've reached mediocrity, and I wasn't sure if they would reach mediocrity this season. I think the formula that they've settled on is probably the best one for the talent that they have. And that's
for the quarterback they have, I'd say. Yeah.
Yeah. For the quarterback they have. Run game, play action, some RPOs, and Hurts scrambles. I mean, I looked up, Hurts had 4 third down conversions on scrambles, most of any quarterback in a game this season, tied for most of any quarterback in a game over the last 5 seasons. So it's they're just kind of, all right, we'll call it pass play, but, go ahead and see if you can make something happen with your legs. So it's not necessarily sustainable. Obviously, when they play better defenses, I think I'll be right back on here talking about how they stink. That's fine. But I don't know. I just don't see another formula for how the offense can play a lot better. I think this is the way they have to play, like Zach said, with this quarterback. And so at least they've settled on doing that and giving themselves a chance, rather than what they were doing through the first 5-6 weeks of the season.
Yeah, I just think it's important to make that distinction between with the offense they have and with the quarterback they have. And the reason why I think it's important to make that distinction, and I thought Bo did a good job writing about this in the day after. I think DeVonta Smith is as close to a number one receiver as they've had in some time. Like I think DeVonta's really good, and I think Dallas Goedert is a really good tight end, right? One of the best tight ends in the league. If you're trying to have a good passing game, like that's a good place to start. DeVonta Smith and Dallas Goedert.
Good, yeah.
And Quez Watkins.
Like
when he's on the field, you need to force defenses to have that safety watching him. So my point there is with a different quarterback, I think this passing game could look a lot different. The reason they're playing this way and the reason that this is the best formula for them is because this is the best way to win with Jalen Hurts. And that's fine, right? Because I do think Jalen Hurts has qualities that you can win with. But I don't think it's like exclusive to the other 10 guys. I think it's essentially they're acknowledging who their quarterback is and they're building an offense to work with that quarterback.
I think that's totally fair. And the offensive line, to your point, is very good. So like, yeah, if there was, if they had, as you said, if they had Justin Herbert on the other as their quarterback, they would be an elite offense, I would imagine.
Break time.
I'm not so sure I agree with you on the day after, but we can talk about that another time. All right, let's hear from our sponsors, and we'll come back and maybe hit it over to the Stone Cold Newsman. When the moment for intimacy arrives, you need to be ready. Roman ready. Whether you've been in a relationship for years or just getting started, having the confidence that comes from preparation means you're free to enjoy the moment when the moment comes. Even though you're far from ordinary, the truth is that ED is really quite common. In fact, 52% of guys aged 40 to 70 experience some form of erectile dysfunction. Go to getroman.com/BWF now to speak to a U.S. licensed healthcare professional about erectile dysfunction and get $15 off your first month of treatment. The benefits of ED treatment can help you reconnect with your partner and rediscover the joy of sex. Roman Ready is confidence personified. It is the self-assurance that comes from knowing you've prepared yourself for the moment when intimacy arrives. Roman's system is completely confidential and totally discreet. No big logos or labels on packages, and the whole process is straightforward. Getting started is very simple. Just go to getroman.com/BWF and complete an online visit. Take care of your ED without leaving your home. Complete an online visit today to connect with a U.S. licensed healthcare professional and take care of it. Just go to getroman.com/BWF today, and if you're prescribed, get $15 off your first month of ED treatment. Make sure you're ready to have confidence and control this fall. Roman Ready. Ding, ding, ding. That's right. It's time for me to tell you about Chime. Chime is an award-winning app and debit card that has saved its members more than $10 billion in overdraft fees with SpotMe fee-free overdraft. Eligible members can overdraft up to $200 on debit card purchases and cash withdrawals with absolutely no fees. Now you deserve to have financial peace of mind. Join the millions of Americans already loving Chime. Sign up takes only 2 minutes and doesn't affect your credit score. What is wrong with me? Credit score? Credit scar? I hope not. Credit score. Get started today at chime.com/BWF. That's chime.com/BWF. Banking services provided by and debit card issued by the Bancorp Bank or Stride Bank, NA, members FDIC. SpotMe eligibility requirements apply. Overdraft only applies to debit card purchases and cash withdrawals. Limits start at $20 and may be increased up to $200 by Chime. Chime member overdraft fee savings based on eligible members' use of SpotMe versus $33 average overdraft fee. Overdraft fee data based on bank rate, checking account survey, and CRL June 2020 overdraft fees report. The Philadelphia Eagles prepare to head to Denver this weekend to play the 5-4 Broncos. The coordinators spoke today. A busy day transaction-wise. We send it over now to the NovaCare complex to talk to the Stone Cold newsman, Zach Berman.
The Philadelphia Eagles waived cornerback Mac McCain from the active roster. They signed cornerback Craig James to the practice squad. As was discussed at the top of the show, the Jets signed Elijah Riley off the Eagles practice squad. That's the major news. The Eagles had their practice squad protections. Jordan Howard not among them. Jordan Howard cannot be protected, I believe, anymore. He's been promoted twice, and if the Eagles were to promote him again, he would then have to go through waivers. This is important to note because with that extra roster spot, the Eagles could very well sign Jordan Howard to the 53-man roster. He clearly has a role on this team, and we'll see what happens in these next few days. Another thing to watch is when the Eagles return to practice tomorrow, do they start Brandon Brooks' his practice window? He's been on injured reserve, and he's been on injured reserve since week 2. Nick Sirianni didn't have a definitive timeline on it, but he did acknowledge that we might know more on Wednesday. So we'll see what happens there. The coordinators spoke today. There was no major news from the coordinators, things we can intersperse into discussion. But that's the major news of the week. We will find out more tomorrow also about Darius Slay and Avonte Maddox's status.
Thanks, Zach. Bang up job.
You got it.
Sheila, your thoughts on the earth-shattering move by Joe Douglas, a man who knows talent when he sees it?
I was just thinking about Brandon Brooks there, and he would come back. I guess, I thought Jack Driscoll played poorly in this game. I thought he was their worst offensive lineman by far. So I imagine Brandon Brooks would slide right in there, but it feels like we're probably not at that point quite yet.
It doesn't sound like he's going to play this week. That would be a surprise. Yeah.
To what Zach was saying before, one of my notes that I just wrote, and this isn't a great note or anything, but like there should be no game where DeVonta Smith doesn't lead the team in targets. Like if you can't find ways to manufacture touches to him, scheme things up. I mean, it's not like he's going to get double teamed, I don't think, every week. Like he should be the guy getting the majority, and Dallas Goedert should be second. And
I was going to say, I'll go even further and say there should be no game in which Jalen Reagor is in the top 3 of targets.
Well, Jalen Reagor, there are 62 wide receivers who have run at least 200 routes this season. Where do you think Reagor ranks in terms of yards per route run?
62.
Zach?
Was that the number?
62, yeah.
Okay, I will guess 62.
I guess I would go 61 just to be
Zach's pushing you. Yeah. 60th. Oh man, 2 for 2.
Well,
no, but that's not good. I mean,
who are the 2 worst?
Robbie Anderson.
Really?
Well, he's been bad this year.
He's ready to strangle his quarterback. Yeah. And who was the 60-second shoot? I forget. I can look it up. I forget who I don't know. But anyway, yeah. Jalen Reagor probably, I mean, if you're playing with these 13 personnel groupings, and I think how many snaps did he, what was like the snap
Quez actually played the most snaps this week because he was the receiver in those 13 personnel sets, and they played so many of them. But I mean, it should just be Quez, DeVonta moving forward, and Reagor sprinkled in occasionally.
Why have DeVonta on the field when Jack Stoll can play, right?
I know it's like you look at some of these, you're like Jack Stoll,
it's crazy.
Jackson.
I mean, I get it. It's
what's crazy. What was really crazy is they never took a shot. Like they never. I thought they were the whole time building it up for like, okay, here's the one where it's play action and Quez goes deep and they take a shot, and they never did it. They had like 15 plays in 13 personnel.
It's just this week in Denver, Vic Fangio's watching that film, all of a sudden, bam, you hit him with the 13 personnel play action shot to Quez Watkins.
Well, do you think Vic Fangio is sending the film to Canton, or? Like, do you think
His own?
At first, I thought you were taking a shot at Vic Fangio. Until I understood. Yeah, now I understand.
Oh, you're taking a shot at us thinking the offense was great.
For
Okay.
you guys were so overwhelmed by this offensive performance, right?
Yeah,
They only had, I mean,
he's
like,
pulling an anti-Cravon and pissing down his leg.
no, they only had 7 drives, right? So it's okay. Right, you score 3 touchdowns on 7 drives.
That's good. That's really
book
good.
the trip.
If you
Yeah,
score
book the
on
trip to
almost
Super Bowl.
half your drives.
Yeah, just
right.
like the Chargers did, right? So
Jalen Hurts.
yes.
Just like the Chargers did against a terrible defense.
Jalen Hurts, 11 completions, 10 runs for 62 yards. I don't know why I'm saying that. It was just one of my notes. It's not really enlightening. You guys already know those numbers. All right. I think those were most of my. Oh, Bo, your Homer tweet with the ineligible man downfield.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. I could send you the exact. You look at the Goddard throw for 21 on the last drive.
Are you looking at the right guy?
RPO?
It's not the guy on the front. It's the guy on the offensive lineman on the far side. It's like 4 yards downfield.
Yeah, I'm saying that's fine, but that happens all the time. And the Eagles, but they didn't call it on the Eagles either.
Okay, well, I'm telling you that's
That's
why
what I'm
he was
telling you.
upset. The broadcast showed him furious, yelling at the official, and nobody knew why. And so now you know why. I'm sorry to be of service.
I love how everything I said, I was cheering for you being off the shit that didn't face you, but this got to you. This is the thing that got on you, needled you over the top.
I didn't say in the tweet the league is should be ashamed of itself for not throwing a flag. I said this is why he was upset.
Oh man, I'm glad I wrote that down as a note. Made sure we got to it.
I'm gonna hip check you and throw a flag just like Tony Correnti.
Oh, I
Walk over to your house and just throw my ass in your hip.
All right. Please don't make that a drop, Marissa. All right. I'm trying to see if I have anything else here on the Eagles defense.
Quick question.
Zach loves.
As not a defense I love. Just want to specify. Just Bo mentioned last night. I am curious if at what point do you feel like, as well as DeVonta Smith is playing, and I think Jalen Hurts has been fine. Like he's shown flashes, but like, at what point do you say maybe they should have looked harder at Justin Fields?
Why are we? Can we calm down on Justin Fields a little bit?
Nice, Joe Banner. Look at you.
I mean, his numbers are terrible.
Yes, Zach's just
He's been worse than Jalen Hurts.
I actually think that so Bo is taking. So there's the football Twitter is very excited about Justin Fields. And then Bo has his minions who are saying, calm down about Justin Fields. I actually think Fields has been good and fun the last 2 weeks. And it sort of reminds me of when I was in high school, and this will age myself for you guys, and Donovan McNabb's rookie year. And it was like, all right, it's not going great. I think he completed like 49% of his passes.
Say Aaron Brooks.
I liked Aaron. I almost got my friend. We almost got him a white Saints Aaron Brooks jersey. It's a pretty clean jersey.
That is a clean
jersey. Number 2, right?
Even the black is good too.
Like the player,
I do. I used to love Aaron Brooks.
Yeah. He was talented. I don't remember exactly what happened to him, but he was a talented quarterback.
Ahead of his time.
He was UVA, right, Zach?
Yeah, that's correct.
Aaron Brooks.
Did you ever write an Aaron Brooks story, Zach? Like looking back?
No, when they hired Mike London, I wrote about them, like, reconnecting with the with
the greats of the past,
the alum, and trying to capture the 757, which is the Tidewater region, which Virginia Tech had like a stronghold on at that time. So that's where Aaron Brooks came up in my coverage. But no, I just bring that up. I'm not crowning.
No, I think it's a fair question. It's going to be an ongoing conversation.
And to be fair, you said it on. I mean, this was your big thing on draft night, so it's not. This is not revisionist for you.
And I'm not necessarily bringing it up based on that game last night. It was more based on Dane Brugler, who we all know is outstanding. He had a tweet over the weekend where he said every one of the top 4, top 5 quarterbacks from last year would have been the number 1 quarterback in this year's class, right? And so I bring that up as a way of saying, like, I've always said when people have asked me, what does Jalen Hurts need to do to keep this job? I say he needs to be better than the alternative, right? He needs to be better than what options are there for them. And I don't know if there's going to be an option in the draft who you say that guy is going to be better than Jalen Hurts. Now, there are going to be veterans available, but my point is that that if last year when you're drafting in the top 10 was a strong year for quarterbacks, as outstanding as DeVonta Smith is, if the Eagles are in that position where like Washington's in now or Denver is in now, where you're trying to figure out how you can find that quarterback, my point is, like, the year you were in the top 10 was probably the best time to do it if it was a deep quarterback class. Anyways, that's a conversation for another day.
No, I think that's a fair conversation to keep an eye on. I mean, I don't know that, I was okay with their sort of process to pass on Justin Fields. I mean, he lasted till 11th, and I don't usually like saying, there's a reason for that, because who knows? There could be very stupid reasons. There are a lot
Mahomes went wherever he went.
Yeah, there are a lot of stupid teams, but obviously there was something where NFL teams looked at it and said they didn't necessarily believe in him. I do think the last 2 weeks you can see him playing a lot better than he was obviously earlier in the season. I mean, the numbers are not going to be good for a rookie quarterback most of the time, but I thought against the 49ers 2 weeks ago, I mean, they went up and down the field. And last night, I thought he certainly did a good job late in that game. So you could just see the flashes, like with a rookie quarterback, again, with McNabb, it was like you want to see 3 plays a game where you're like, oh, that's kind of exciting. Maybe there's something to this guy that can make him our guy for years to come. And I do think you've seen that with Fields, at least for the last 2 games. Daniel Jeremiah had a tweet. He said, an opinion from a scouting buddy, 10 players from the 2021 draft would be first overall in the 2022 draft.
Wow.
So is this just like the worst year to have 3, or is that overrated? It's probably overrated, like, right, Bo? I see you. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I would buy that the 5 quarterbacks would all be the first pick. But I mean, I don't know. It doesn't seem like this is a bad draft at the top. Like, it's just at different positions. Like, is like, I mean, I'm trying to think, like, Jalen Waddle goes 6th. Is he like?
Yeah, I'm curious about that. I'm curious what that scout was thinking. Like, I mean, Kayvon Thibodeau would have been a top 5 pick last year, right? Derek Stingley would have been a top 5 pick last year,
right? So who are we talking?
Thibodeau, especially. I mean, Thibodeau would have been like, who knows? Right.
So no defensive ends.
The quarterbacks, he would have promoted.
And like, no one's taking. I still don't think anyone's taking Kyle Pitts.
Right.
I don't think people are taking Kyle Pitts over like an outstanding defensive end. So that surprises me. Yeah.
Right. Unless one it's like stupidly framed as like knowing what we know now, like as having seen them as pros, which is of course nonsense. That's not really how it works. So
yeah. Okay.
Yeah. A little silly. Okay.
I was just going to finish on these. I think I've said everything about the defense I wanted to say. I mean, the Chargers either gained 50 yards or scored on every drive. Again, they didn't punt. They had the 2 turnovers on downs. I mean, I don't know how you have a game where your defensive line has no sacks, no QB hits, no tackles for loss. They allowed 80% completions for the 5th time all year. It was their 2nd worst defensive performance statistically, behind only the Chiefs game. Some of the stuff they're trying, they had the one blitz with Rodney McLeod where he's coming in from Bala Kinwood, has no chance to ever get to the quarterback. They have a 3rd down where it's a, simulated pressure where I forget who was blitzing. Someone's blitzing, and then Derek Barnett drops into coverage. He's just covering grass. I mean, it's like he's not going to affect the play at all. And this idea of the quarterbacks getting rid of the ball quickly, like they're getting rid of the ball quickly because the one thing the defense allows is for quarterbacks to get rid of the ball quickly.
Yeah.
So like it doesn't all align. I mean, if you're
that's the thing.
allow them quick, easy passes. And then you're going to say, well, the pass rush didn't get home because they made quick, easy passes. That's my frustration with this defense. Like, what are you trying to do? I mean, it was like this week, somebody just maybe had a talk with Jonathan Gannon and said, hey, we should mix it up a little bit. Okay, we'll play more man coverage, we'll blitz more. But I don't know. There doesn't seem to be any type of rhyme or reason to anything they do. And the results continue to be awful week after week after week, unless, like I said, you're playing a Darnold or a Goff. I mean, I think the Broncos are not a good offense, but I would say they're mediocre or competent. And so if you look a lot better against them and even the Giants, and I mean, Heineke, again, those are not good offenses, but they're not like among the 3 or 4 worst in the NFL, then I guess that would be something. But what you were saying on the post-game pod, about you shouldn't judge them based on games against X, Y, and Z, but like that list is pretty long now in the NFL. I mean, Mahomes, Dak, Herbert, Kyler Murray, Lamar Jackson. I mean, we can probably name 9 or 10 guys. So if your defense doesn't work well against those guys, it's not always going to work. Sometimes you're just going to get carved up. But if it doesn't work consistently against like the top 10 quarterbacks in the league, then what are you really doing? What's the point of playing that defense?
Yeah, I mean, my biggest issue with the defense is the way they're playing coverage. And I say that because they're so obsessed with stopping the big play, with preventing the explosive play that and they're so fixated on this concept that they would rather you get 40 yards in 8 plays than 40 yards on one play, that they're not doing enough to stop those 40 yards on 8 plays. And that's the biggest issue I see.
By the way, the other, sorry, I was just blowing my nose off camera. The other thing with that philosophy, it's like, well, wait for the offense to make a mistake. Doesn't it work the other way too? Like, isn't the Eagles defense just as likely to make a mistake as the opposing offense, whether it's your boy Derek Barnett jumping off sides, whether it's a busted coverage, whether it's a penalty? And so, I don't know. I'm kind of over this trend.
I'm sort of over it too. And it's like the opposite of, what we were always told about Chip Kelly's offense is that like the longer you keep the defense on the field, like the more tired they're going to be at the end of the games. Well, like this defense is on the field forever. But the quarterback's getting rid of the ball thing, like it's not just a thing they're saying. Like quarterbacks over the course of the season have gotten rid of the ball quicker against the Eagles defense than against any other team. They are 32nd in that. And so like, I'm not a defensive coordinator. I don't know like how to game up the coverages a little bit better and make them tighter and like then make that work with the guys in the back. But it would seem to me that like just like common sense like isn't part of the point of playing too high that you can afford to be a little bit more aggressive with the corners on the outside because they've got more help.
Yeah, I mean, you don't play a lot of I think they've barely played any 2-man, which you could press with the corners, play man coverage. You still have 2 deep safeties. They have help over the top. If you're, the downside of that is when you're playing a mobile quarterback, everybody has their back to the line of scrimmage. So that guy can run, but I don't know that, I don't know how much they should be worried about that kind of thing. At this point, you're right. I mean, the statistics make sense because they make it so easy for a point. I mean, every quarterback would love to get rid of the ball quickly if they could. I mean, no one holds the ball just to hold the ball. Sometimes the defense is playing press man coverage or they're taking away your first read or they're disguising something that makes you hold it. And all of a sudden you say, shoot, I wasn't expecting that guy to be there. And so you hold the football. And so the 2 ways to get them to not hold the football is to do that with your coverages or to blitz. And I mean, I just don't even know how much they've practiced some of these blitzes because it hasn't been in their identity. It obviously wasn't something they were going to do. And now when they do it in some of these games, it's like, all right, I think Tom McAllister liked the metric I used a couple of weeks ago about the beads of armpit sweat for the opposing quarterback. We might have to implement that on a weekly basis. But yeah, I don't sense that. I think if Justin Herbert forgot his Dove women's deodorant for this game, I think he would have been okay. I don't think that undershirt he was wearing really would have had any type of stains on it. I might be taking this too far. You
Obviously
all look like
for,
disgusted and confused at me right now.
For new listeners, of course, that is not a dig at Justin Herbert. That
No,
is a
please.
compliment because
Been driving that
Dove
bandwagon
deodorant
for years,
by-
baby. What'd you think
by-
of a Justin Herbert? Yeah, I use a Dove.
So
women's
good. Yeah,
deodorant.
so do I.
Yeah. No,
he's
you
very
use a
good.
Secret. I thought you switched to Dove.
Oh yeah, I do use Secret. You're right.
Yeah. Okay.
You're right. I use Secret.
Sign that we've
Fantastic.
been doing this podcast too long.
Yeah.
I also like
Also use
philosophically.
So does Zach. You also
No,
use
no.
women's deodorant, right?
No.
Didn't we go over this?
I also philosophically I don't
Wait, hold on.
use women's deodorant.
I thought you did. Didn't we? Haven't we been over this?
No, Zach.
I
was
literally
disgusted.
I was like
thought
I
about
don't know what
quitting
He's
you
the one who
guys-
podcast
first
when you
asked the
heard this.
question, and then you, Sheil, had to decide whether to come clean that you also used women's deodorant.
I was actually Rich Bobby, our
That's what it was.
award-winning listener, an outstanding listener, in the meetup we had when he gave us the Birds with Friends travel pack, and it had the women's deodorant in it. I remember bringing it home, and my wife was like, "Why does this have women's deodorant in it?" And I didn't want to tell her that like Sheil and Bo use women's deodorant.
Oh, that's okay.
Why? Yeah, I'm proud of it.
Yeah.
It's vastly superior.
No. So
Were you
what I was saying
accent?
is, no, I'm not a middle. No,
Old
I'm
Spice?
Wow.
No,
if
I'm
you want
sorry.
to be a sponsor, let's cut that out.
no, I use Mitchum.
Really?
Mitchum man.
You're
Yeah.
a Mitchum
Is that like
man.
Is
I
that
feel like Mitchum is a real man. So like, I
Yeah,
don't
I
care
feel no
what
wonder your
deodorant I
facial
use,
hair
just
grows
throw
so
me
fast.
something.
Yeah.
I feel like that's
Um,
Mitchum.
Anyways, let's get
High
back to the-
TVB.
I would have pegged you as a growing up when I first started using. I was big on right guard solely because Charles Barkley did the commercials. Anything else would be uncivilized. he's on the horse. I'm like,
I forgot about those.
I gotta go get some right guard.
So I kind of philosophically disagree with the approach of like let's just do everything to prevent the big play, and I say that understanding that was something that Eagles fans lamented during the Schwartz era and during the Bill Davis era, like the amount of X plays they gave up. But if you have a good pass rush, right, you want that quarterback like sitting in the pocket, having to, needing 3 or 4 seconds. Like you want your guys getting to him. The biggest differentiator in my mind on defense is hitting the quarterback. That changes everything. And even if you give up a play here or a play there, and I understand what Jonathan Gannon says that the quickest way to lose is giving up big plays. But I think like the quickest way to affect a game on defense is to hit the quarterback. Both what it does on that play and the residual effect it could have. So if I was a defensive coordinator, my whole philosophy, I would probably have a scheme similar to Jim Schwartz. Like it would just be predicated upon getting to the quarterback.
I don't know, Zach. I think you're being too hard on the defense.
Yeah, it's a happy medium. Nobody like wants to give up explosive plays. Like, yeah, you should always be trying to not give up explosive plays. But to what end are you willing to make that the priority over everything else? Just like you said, I mean, do you want quarterbacks to be this comfortable on a week in, week out basis where Justin Herbert is literally hit one time and it's by Marcus Epps? Oh no, who was it?
No, it was Andre Sacheret.
No,
No, it was
Nelson.
Steven
No, it was
Nelson.
Steven
Steven
Nelson.
And it's by
Yeah.
Steven Nelson on a play that draws a penalty. Literally the one time he's hit the entire game, except for when he scrambled. I mean, you're right. Yeah, it is gonna make them too comfortable. All right.
Well, we're now at the point of the show where it's too late for me to tell you this, but we're gonna let the live chatters decide what
we
our
were supposed
next.
to lead with this, weren't we? I
we
jumped
were.
into the pod too quickly.
Yeah. We're going to let you guys decide what our next segment is. Okay. So we're going to do the fake press conference thing, Crest Pass, which is not the original name, but I can't remember what the original name is. You guys decide whether it's going to be a quarterback, a head coach, or a general manager. Or did we say defensive coordinator or general manager? General manager. So is it going to be a Howie Roseman
But
press conference?
GM, is there much for him to say right now?
Okay. Well, I feel like we've gotten into the defense already, right? Like,
Well, maybe this could be an exercise to explain Jonathan Gannon's view of it. I don't know.
Okay. All right. So let's do defensive coordinator, head coach, or quarterback.
I mean, but Chiam, is there much for him to say right now?
Well, I feel like we've gotten into the defense already, right? Like, which of those options would you like to see role played, and who would you like to see play the titular character? And with that, we'll send it to the break. Go ahead, Sheil.
No, I was just going to say, whichever one of us acts as that person will be answering questions based on what we think they should say, not what they would say. I don't know how we're going to tally up these votes or anything, but I'll leave that to Bo.
So we're doing it as if we were
you were Jonathan Gannon, both coming in hot with your defense sucks, Johnny. You got to be held accountable, my man. What do you say?
Sounds good. All right. So I got to say, the slog of the NFL season sort of tends to chip away at my productivity in terms of, working out, making yourself feel better. I have not been as active on the Peloton during the season as I was, over the summer. And, part of that is just the beats of the week and, traveling, and part of it is just, you get out of the habit and you start to make excuses. Well, guess what? Guess what I did today? I went on the Peloton, did a little 30-minute ride with Robin, and I felt a lot better. You got to do it. You got to find time, and Peloton makes it easy, makes it fun, makes it productive. So, here's what you need to know. You never work out alone on the Peloton. You ride with coworkers and friends. You work out with interest groups like Working Moms of Peloton or Peloton Parents. Peloton has endless class variety to keep your workouts feeling fresh, like cycling. That's pretty much what I do. Strength, yoga, bar, meditation, and more. You can choose based on the instructor that you like. You can choose based on the music that you like. You can choose based on what kind of ride you want to have. It's all good stuff. And what you need to do is visit onepeloton.com to learn more. Try Peloton classes free for the rest of the year. New members only. Visit onepeloton.com/app to learn more. Terms apply. Peloton. When your workout is a joy, it's a joy to work out. Learning a new language can feel intimidating. When I first decided to give Cockney a shot, I was worried about the level of difficulty, the time commitment, and having to hear how my accent sounded out loud. Well, I think we all know it worked out pretty well. But thanks to Babbel, the #1 selling language learning app, the whole process was addictively fun, fast, and easy. Whether you want to learn a new language for an upcoming trip or as an engaging new hobby, Babbel teaches bite-sized language lessons for real-world use. We have this thing right now where Casey, my almost 4-year-old, will keep asking us what a word is in Spanish or in French or a couple other languages. And it's very easy to just be able to just pull it up on Babbel. So it's helping me be, I want to say a better parent, a more engaged parent. So thank you to Babbel for that. Here's what you need to know. There are so many ways to learn with Babbel. In addition to lessons, you can access podcasts, games, videos, stories, and even live classes. Plus, it comes with a 20-day money-back guarantee. Start your new language learning journey today with Babbel. Right now, when you purchase a 3-month Babbel subscription, you'll get an additional 3 months for free. That's 6 months for the price of 3. Just go to Babbel.com and use promo code BIRDS. That's BABBEL.com, code BIRDS, for an extra 3 months free. All right, Marissa, what do you think?
I mean, we need some kind of poll or something. It's very divided.
I thought this would be kind of easy, just reading the chat, and it was actually very hard. I will say overwhelmingly either Sheil or Zach. Bo, you did not get many nominations. I think they want you to be the question asker. I think we were seeing a lot of Zach, defensive coordinator or head coach.
That's what I saw.
Someone said Sheil as Pat Shermer after Chip Kelly got fired.
Yeah. So
all right, Zach, would you rather play?
I will make a poll for next time to make this easier.
Zach, would you rather play DC or head coach?
Head coach.
All right, I'll do this. Will be a good exercise for me. I can be DC, or do we not? Or are we just doing one?
Oh, I thought we were just going to do one. But if you want to hang around longer, Sheil, by all
means. Let's do 2 quick ones. All
right, we'll do 2 quick ones.
And then if we want to do 3 quick ones, we can make Bo the quarterback.
Sure.
Okay.
Buckle up, everyone.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Nick Sirianni to the podium.
I thought I'm me, right? So
no, you're Nick Sirianni, but you're answering like
as
Nick
if
Sirianni. If you're like his advisor, he's
Gotcha.
he's like, hey Zach, I'm gonna have this earpiece in, and you're gonna hear the questions. You tell me what I should be saying.
The Berman rack.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
All right. You want me to
Go
start
ahead,
here?
Sheil. Yeah.
Trent Grimm, the Independent. Hey Nick,
I know who you are, Trent.
Okay, yeah, good to see you, Nick. We saw you guys are having a lot of success running the ball here in the last couple weeks. What led to that happening before week 8, and why was that not something you leaned on earlier in the season?
Look, that's a fair question. And the reality, Trent, is that I see the same games you do. And ultimately, we had a way we wanted to play early in the game. Early in the season. And we thought that was the best way to win. We weren't getting the results we needed. Ultimately, my job as head coach is to win games. Whatever way necessary, it's to win games. So we had a chance to take a step back during the mini bye, and we tried starting it a bit before that Las Vegas game. It got away from us, but really what we need to do is figure out how we can best win with the personnel that we have. And if that means running it at a higher rate and really trusting our offensive line and having those guys win at the point of attack and mixing in play action, we'll do it. So to answer your question, early in the season, we thought the best way to win was to pass the ball. I fundamentally believe you need a strong passing game. But as time went on and we saw this team and we had the evidence in games, ultimately we determined the best way to win is by having an offense that maybe ran the ball more than we did in the first few months of the season.
Hey, Nick, Zach Berman.
Tim McManus from ESPN here. Sorry to interrupt you. Just had to get a quick follow-up in there. Nick, to follow up on that question, Jeffrey Lurie has been on record as saying he believes that passing leads to winning in the NFL. How much input did he have into those game plans early in the season? Again, sorry to interrupt you there.
Well, I would first say that Jeffrey is always around. We're always having these conversations. The only thing he's ever instructed me to do is win games, and he's going to evaluate me based on winning games. And I'm in agreement with him that you need to pass the ball to win. I'm a former wideout myself. Of course, I want a good passing offense, but what we're doing on the field is not a surprise to Jeffrey. We speak throughout the week. He knows what our game plan is going to be. And if he thinks this is the best way to win, or if he thinks I think this is the best way to win, then he's in full support of it.
So just to clarify, so you do speak every week? Because I believe earlier in the season, you did not indicate that you do.
No, I mean, you can go back and roll the tape if you want. I was on record saying this. We do not have a specified meeting time, if that's what you're asking. He's at practice every day. He's a very involved owner. He's a great boss to work for. We have these conversations throughout the week, but it's not the type of thing where he's sitting me down and saying, do X, do Y, do Z.
Nick, Zach Berman from The Athletic. One of the things you like to say is that a wise man avoids all extremes. I'm curious how you rectify that with the defensive philosophy that is so extreme in trying to limit big plays.
Yeah, Zach, that's a really good question. You know, I've always been impressed by the questions that you ask, the detail that the lengths you go to try to get the story right. Good job, Zach. Anyways, your question was about the wise man avoiding all extremes, which I fundamentally believe, and I learned that from Frank Reich. As far as how it corresponds with our defense, look, the first thing I look for after a game, and I told you this, I think you asked the question, Zach, already this season, was what stats I look for. The first things I look for are explosive plays, the explosive plays differential. So I want a defense that is not going to give up big plays, and I want an offense that has big plays. So I'm in agreement with Jonathan, and it's important to note, Jonathan is our defensive coordinator, but I'm the head coach. My name is on everything here. We need to play better on defense. Quarterbacks can't be so comfortable against us. No question about it. But I don't what question would you ask me, Zach, if Justin Herbert hit Mike Williams for an 80-yard touchdown, right? I think that if they have to go downfield on these 10, 12-play drives, I trust my players to get to the quarterback, to get a hand on the ball. Maybe there's a holding penalty in there, that something bad is going to happen and we're going to make it happen rather than one big play. So as long as I'm the head coach here, we are going to have a scheme that avoids, that tries to keep big plays off the board. But I don't think it's mutually exclusive. I think we can keep big plays off the board, but also not allow it to be so easy for the opposing quarterback.
Nick, Bo Wulf from The Athletic. One of my main jobs is just to appease my colleague Sheil Kapadia and make sure that he sees things. So he just showed up to the press conference. I want you to just, if you don't mind, repeating what you said earlier this week about punts being explosive plays.
Yeah, Bo, your questions are always interesting, right? Sometimes, my PR guy preps me for what's going to come, but sometimes the questions you ask me, I'm not expecting them. So that's a good thing. And your content at the Athletic, you wrote a great story about me. I believe it was about my time at Mount Union. So that was a really good piece, right. Bo. And I respect the amount of hard work you put into your stories. So you were saying you wanted me to repeat what I said about the punting from earlier this week. We consider explosive plays on special teams to be when the ball is pinned back in the 5-yard line. I don't know why I'm repeating this. You can just read the transcript. You guys have a fixed amount of time each week. Why do you want me to answer something that I already answered? But that's what I say, and I stand by that comment.
Do you have another one, Sheil? Or I can go.
Go ahead. I wasn't sure how much longer we were going.
Nick, Jeff McClain from The Inquirer.
Well, I was warned about you, Jeff.
Just to follow up on the wise man avoiding all extremes. You are 32nd in quarterbacks getting rid of the ball, 32nd in completion percentage allowed. That seems like an extreme. Does that mean that Jonathan Gannon is not a wise man?
That is not what it means. No, look, my name is on this defense as well, right? It's
Does
not
that mean
just
that you're
Jonathan.
not a wise man?
We need to be better. I am a 3-6 coach right now. That's the reality of it. Now, I believe we can be better. I believe we will be better. But there's a lot we need to do better. And it starts with me and extends to Jonathan. I'm not absolving the way Jonathan's coaching. And you know what? I'm not absolving the way these players are playing. I want to make this clear, Jeff, okay? I believe in my players, but we need Fletcher Cox to play like the Fletcher Cox that I saw on tape. We need Josh Sweat to play like the Josh Sweat we just signed a big contract to. We need Derek Barnett to play like the Derek Barnett who broke Reggie White's sack record.
That's what we were waiting for.
In college. We need these guys to get to the quarterback, to disrupt the quarterback, because I know as an offensive coach that when the quarterback is under duress, it changes everything. So it also factors in to the defensive lineman as well.
Last one, please. Ray Dittinger here, Philadelphia Bulletin. Nick, I hear you say that your name is on everything. The offense, the defense, the special teams, the relationships with players, what's happening in the building. You were a first-time head coach, a first-time play caller. What kind of thought, if any, have you given to handing off some of these responsibilities to other people that you've hired in the building? Are there times during the week where you're finding it to be a little bit too much on your plate? And could that be some of the reasons why your team sits at 3-6 right now?
Look, that's a fair question. And when you lose, you look at it, you look at everything. But I believe that I am the best play caller in this building. I believe that being a head coach, I want my hands. Look, I'll put it this way, Ray, and you've been around a lot of head coaches. Okay.
Yes,
I don't know. I don't know how long I have. I don't know how many shots I'm going to have at this. My shot, what I said when I came into coaching, when I get it, I'm going to do it my way. All right. I want to win or lose doing it the way I believe it should be done. And so I am going to call plays. I don't think it's too burdensome. I have an outstanding staff. We prepare for it during the week. We go through different scenarios. I have good coaches in my ear throughout the game, but I want my finger on the button because ultimately, Ray, when you talk about the Eagles on your post-game show, I don't want there to be any type of ambiguity about who's in charge. I am in charge, okay? If we have a bad play call, I'm the one who sent that play call in. I want you to know that.
Thanks, everyone.
Will you draw and quarter Derek Barnett if he commits another penalty?
Mac McClung at the podium after practice. Mac McClung at the podium after practice.
Mac McClung, is that the former Georgetown and Texas Tech basketball player? I think you mean Mac McCain, right?
No, I don't.
Okay.
He got whacked also.
I don't know why he's here. Yeah.
All right, Sheil, you want to be a DC?
Sure, we can do a quick one.
Okay. Zach, why don't you kick things off?
I gotta get back into my mode here. Okay.
Jonathan, Zach Berman from The Athletic. Will you draw and quarter Derek Barnett if he commits another third down penalty?
Zach, good to see you. Thanks for leading us off with that question. No, I will not. Derek knows that mental mistakes will cost us on defense. He owned up to it right away. Listen, these guys are in a tough spot. They want to be aggressive. They're up there and they're trying to jump the snap count. He's trying to make a play. It's a fine line. If you watch some of these other teams around the NFL, their defensive linemen, they're jumping that snap count and it's leading to sacks and negative plays. So we talked to Derek about it. He knows he can't have those mistakes, but we're going to let that go, and we're going to move on to the next game.
Sheil Kapadia, senior national writer for The Athletic. Make sure you heard senior there, Jonathan. I have a few numbers for you. The Chargers drove to at least the Eagles' 27-yard line on every possession. You guys did not force a punt. You did not have a takeaway. You did not have a sack. You allowed 80% completions for the 5th time this year. What was your plan in this game, Jonathan?
Yeah, I can understand why you'd ask that question, Sheil. By the way, great look there. I always thought you were one of the most handsome reporters in this city. I think when you look at that game, we've got to take I have to take responsibility for us not playing well enough. I was not aggressive enough with my calls. I changed some things on the fly with some of our blitzes, with some of our man coverage calls, and they did not work out well. I did not put our players in position to succeed. So what was the plan? The plan was to switch things up a little bit from what we had shown on film. We wanted to be a little bit less predictable. Obviously, that did not work out. You cannot be giving up that kind of yardage, those first downs, that many touchdowns. I mean, we make a play at the goal line, but really they could have scored there. They could have scored at the end. They're playing for the field goal. I mean, a couple plays here and there. We're giving up 40 points in that game. So I understand that wasn't good enough. I was sick to my stomach watching the film. We're going to make changes, and we're going to get it right here going forward as we look ahead to Denver.
Hey, Jonathan, Martin Frank from Delaware Online. I know he's not on your side of the ball, but did you get a chance to watch Nazir Adderley in this game, and what did you think of his performance?
Yeah, I appreciate the question, Martin. If you have any questions about former Delaware Blue Hens who are not in the league, I'd be happy to answer those. But in terms of, the league rules, I'm not allowed to talk about another player like that. So respectfully, I'll just move on to the next question. Tampering is the word. I think they did tampering. Yeah, Bob. Tampering. Okay, tampering.
Bo Wulf from The Athletic. Jonathan, why didn't you play Elijah Riley more? Why did you let the New York Jets release him? Or I'm sorry, sign him. Why? I'm so upset. Why?
Bo, I hate to answer a question with a question, but I would love to know when you're going to be doing another Wolf's Den. I mean, I used to watch those. I'm out there in Minnesota, Indianapolis. You might not know this. Mike Zimmer loved those. We would watch those on a weekly. It was the one time I saw him laugh is when you did the, I can't remember which one it was, but that was entertaining. Elijah did a great job for us. It's a numbers game. For sure. We have some other guys. Marcus Epps has really stepped up for us and played well. We like Anthony Harris. We've got Rodney McLeod healthy. So I think Elijah Riley played safety. Not totally sure about that. So we might have to edit the transcript later. But really just a numbers game. Love what he did for us. And I look forward to him making many, many Pro Bowls in the future.
Jonathan, Jimmy Kemsky from Philly Voice. Can you name every cornerback on your roster?
Don't turn this into a stick figure, Jimmy. I've seen your work, my man. I don't want to be the next meme or whatever they call it. Get you 1,000 retweets with me looking like an idiot here in the weeks ahead. No, I'm just kidding. I do love those. Can I name every cornerback on my roster? No, I cannot. I like to refer to our players by their numbers. When I see them out there on the field, I feel like they have to earn that. If I'm going to call them by their name. So I know Darius. I know Steven, I think is his name. The other guy we have there on the outside. I'm not sure. Usually they're playing so far away from me in the coverage schemes that we have that we don't have a lot of interaction. So no, there's no chance I can name every quarterback on the roster. Cornerback, I said. Cornerback.
Howard Eskin, I'm the king. All the dopes and nitwits who call up, they want you to blitz. Why aren't you blitzing? And Ben Simmons, can we all agree? I mean, come on. What is he doing? I know you're not Glenn Rivers, but come on. The geniuses over there, they should know what they're doing.
See, Berman is so good at this. Why aren't we blitzing? It's a fair question. We did blitz quite a bit last game. It didn't work out great. I hate to answer everything with it's a numbers game, but if you're rushing more players to the quarterback here, obviously you're going to have fewer players in coverage. We really have faith in that defensive line that those guys are going to be able to win with our 4-man pass rush. And so we don't want to be predictable. We want to avoid extremes. There are going to be weeks when we blitz more, when we feel like it's going to be advantageous against some of these quarterbacks that we see, but it's not something that we want to feel like is a crutch, something we need to rely on. We want to be able to make sure we're committing enough players in coverage and let that front four get home. Howard, is it true that you once dressed up as Santa Claus during a press conference when Chip Kelly was the coach? I heard that. Bob told me that.
That is correct. Yes, I said
like
Nick Foles was going to be the quarterback for the next 1,000 years. Nick Foles won a Super Bowl here. Okay, the only person more popular in Philadelphia than Nick Foles is me.
Jimmy, I'd like to see a little stick figure of the king in a Santa Claus outfit. All right, guys, got to go. Practice is about to start. Let's have a great day.
Nicely done.
Okay.
All right.
Oh, man. I would do a whole pod of Zach just being other reporters. That's outstanding. It's Elijah Riley. Why? All right.
So, Zach, I guess we should close with, Elijah Riley. What are you going to be sad to see him go?
Oh, gosh. All right.
You know
Marissa,
what?
I'll send you my
I'll say
audio.
this. One of the downsides, I say this genuinely, like one of the downsides of the past year and a half is that we haven't gotten a chance to get to know a lot of these players who, are like bottom of the roster players who we would typically have chances to interview. So I don't think I've ever we might have had him on a Zoom last year, but I haven't spoken to Elijah Riley. He's a good story.
Do you think that Elijah Riley or someone in his orbit is aware of the Birds with Friends connection?
Probably so. Yeah,
I think so. I feel like they probably see his name, like Twitter searching enough tags that they must.
I feel like we had something on this before, and there was a connection, but that could just be me misremembering.
Well, I mean, listen, earnestly, no ad connection intended. I'm curious to see how he does. I'm excited to see him get some real snaps. Let's go prove me right. Go be an all-pro.
Okay, look forward to that.
And if you want to hear how he does, you can check out the Jets Can't Wait podcast on The Athletic, also produced by me.
I don't know about that. I feel like we could just sort of keep tabs on.
Come on, you have to do it for Elijah Riley. He would want you to do this. So.
Would he?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know.
All right. And
I'm reading these comments. I think people enjoyed my head coach press conference just as much as they enjoyed my Aaron Rodgers opinions, right? Like, I'm not getting strong views on these here.
Oh, really?
I thought you did a good job. Yeah, I think they're good comments. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
People liked it.
Yeah.
But if you have something
do you want a third
Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah, do you want a third swing at Aaron Rodgers?
No. Look,
You don't have to. You do not have to.
No,
Please,
please.
I don't. I just
over.
put I
God.
don't think we need to get into like an echo chamber of outrage, right? Like it's like who can be
Just
outraged
imagine he
more than
jumped
the
off
next
sides
person.
on 3rd and 6, and then
Come on, that's two totally different things, right? Like I cover the Eagles. I'm not.
I know. Don't worry about it. Don't worry.
All right. Okay.
All right. That'll do it for this episode of Birds with Friends. We're back live at 3:30 on Thursday afternoon to preview Sunday's game against the Denver Broncos as the Eagles begin their quest for the playoffs. Possible. Who knows? All right. For Zach,
Check out the Athletic YouTube page for our video this week.
got a video coming up tomorrow, a crystal bald eagle predictions draft for league-wide things in the NFL. So that'll be fun. And make sure you follow Sheil on Instagram. If you do not subscribe to The Athletic, you can do so for a nice deal at theathletic.com/birdswithfriends. Follow Zach on Twitter and find a way to send mail to Jimmy Haslam's house to tell him to now sign his other guard to a new contract. Let's get Michael Dunn paid. Okay. For Zach, Sheil, and Marissa, and most importantly for Elijah Riley, I'm Bo. Thanks for listening. And as always, we love you.